Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss with you all the books that I have read this year so far. So if you want to hear me talk about these books, then just stick around for a bit, okay? I have read 17. I am on my 18th book of the year. When I finish that, I will be halfway through my reading goal, since my reading goal this year was to read at least as many books as I read last year, which was 36. And so once I finish Children of Blood and Bone, I will be halfway to that mark, which I'm very hopeful means I will surpass my reading goal this year. But anyway, we're gonna talk about these in the order of which I finished reading them. Let's just start. Let's just start. The first book I read this year is The Last of August, one of the Charlotte Holmes books, and I loved it so much I gave it 4 stars. I read it in early January. I was on a trip, and this was one of my first buys of the year, actually. I already had 3 other books with me, but I was getting to a part with Queen of Air and Darkness where I didn't want to go any further because I was scared. And I just sat down and I read this because I was curious, because I had read A Study in Charlotte in November and I really liked it, and so I wanted to read it. And I was frankly a little upset and a little shook by what happened in this book and the ending specifically. I really liked it, but not as much as the first one, and I'm kind of hoping that the next one is better. I have high hopes that it will be, but I did still really like this book. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars out of 5, so it's still a good book. After reading that, I finished Crazy Rich Asians. I love this series and this book so much. It was so funny and so good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and this one took me a while to read. I started it in November. I took it really slowly, but I finished it. It took me literally like 2 months. I started it on the 15th and I ended it on the 15th of January, and I really liked it. I don't know what else to say other than I really liked it. There's a movie about it, but if you go see the movie, don't immediately start reading the other books. Read this one first, because there's, enough changes that you kind of need to know where this one ends. I was actually a little surprised still by some of the things that happened in this book, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was really, really good. Right after finishing Crazy Rich Asians, I finished China Rich Girlfriend, which is the sequel. And I liked it a little less. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was just all right. It was an all right book. I was still shocked and appalled by some of the things that were happening in this book, and I still thought it was really, really good. It's just wasn't my favorite. And that's it. Although I do have to say, I freaking love Charlie Wu. After those books, I finally finished Queen of Air and Darkness, and holy crap, guys. This book was so good, and I was so scared of whatever way this book might go that I did not expect that ending. I didn't expect it at all. I was literally shocked at the ending of this book. I didn't see that coming. I'm a little worried for the future. I'm a little worried. And also slightly confused. There's a minor plot point in this book that I totally called. It's revealed in this book. It's in the whole series, but I called it, and I'm still confused by it, actually. It's a super minor thing, and it has to revolve around just one of the characters, but I don't get it. I don't get it. But it was a fantastic book. It was the first book that I gave 5 out of 5 stars to. I really enjoyed it. Every second of it. It's good. It's a good book. And well worth the agonizing Wait. So at the same time I was reading Queen of Air and Darkness, the end of it, I was also reading Rich People Problems. And I finished it not too long after I finished Queen of Air and Darkness. And I liked it. I really, really liked it. I am satisfied with the way this series ends. This book was straight up crazy. And I felt so many more emotions out of this book than the last book, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars again. I loved it so much. Again, I love Charlie Wu. I mean, that man is amazing. I loved the ending of the whole series. I found that it wrapped up in a very bittersweet kind of a way. I recommend this series. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I really like the way that they wrapped everything up, and it made me so happy inside. When I got done with those 2 books, I had this overwhelming, satisfying emptiness. Like, I just went on an amazing journey into incredibly different worlds, which, by the way, have something in common. Those 2 worlds that I just talked about had something in common, yet they're so different. Comment down below if you know what they have in common. But then after that, I was just like, I have no idea where to go. And so I picked up Stranger Than Fanfiction, because I am a Glee fan, which explains why I went here after I got done with those last 2 books. Light bulb. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I loved it so much. It was so much better and weirder than I thought it was ever going to be. It is from 4 different perspectives. And that was chippy. I loved it. It was really good. The ending, while expected, was hard. But there is a super funny story. Oh my gosh, okay. So, those of you who don't know, Chris Colfer was on Glee. I love Glee. I love his character, Kurt, on Glee. And so I have a tendency to listen to music while reading books. And I was listening to my whole song collection on shuffle, and I'm getting to the end of this book, and I am feeling so many emotions, and then a Glee song comes on and it's him singing, and then another Glee song comes on and it's him singing. So I read literally the whole last chapter of this book, and a little bit of the chapter before, just hearing the author singing entirely different songs to me while reading his book, and it was super weird. It was super weird. Also, I think this was the shortest read. I picked it up in the afternoon of one day, and I fell asleep, woke up, had 3 chapters left. And I felt so bad. I was like, I have 3 chapters left. How did I fall asleep on this book? But I did wake up really early because I needed to read the rest of this book. And so I finished the book, and of course I was listening to Chris singing at the same time, and it was so weird. And now every time I hear him singing, I think of this book, and I just have all these emotions again because it was a really good book, guys. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked this book. I would recommend it. It's fantastic. After I read that book, I read Eliza and Her Monsters, and I loved this book so much that it is my second 5 out of 5 stars of this year. Oh my goodness, it gave me all the emotions. It was just so much more than I was expecting, and I really liked it. I liked the characters, I liked the development and the plot, and it was unnerving sometimes how much I could relate to Eliza. Out of all of the books that I have read this year so far, this is the one that most resonated with me. I felt the most of myself in this book, and I love that feeling. It also terrifies me a little bit. There were some parts of it where they aren't me, but that's because no one really is exactly you except for you, and no character in a book is actually going to get every part of you. But it was enough that it was creepy and awesome, and I loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved the plot, and it was so great. It was so great. I loved it so much. This book needs to be read, and I love it, and I can't gush enough about it. Like, just If you want me to do like a full-on review about this book or any of these other books, comment down below, because I'm not really going into depth. But I have thoughts on all of these books, and I will share them with you guys if you want them. But you have to tell me that you want them, or else I'm never going to do them, because I don't think that you want them. I love this book, and you guys should read this book. It is amazing. Now this next book, this book was the longest. It took me the longest to read this book, but let me explain, okay? So it's Library of Souls, one of the Miss Peregrine's books. I read the first two of this series in October. I was in a slump. I have a whole video about it, but I started reading this book, and I got this far into the book. And then I put it down because I got distracted by other books. But then when I got done with Eliza and Her Monsters, I picked this book back up and I read it so fast. I read this part, the rest of this book, which is, you know, a good portion of the book. I read the rest of this in a day. Maybe a day and a half. It's good, guys. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I liked the ending. I liked the whole plot. It was twisty and turny and up and down and crazy all over the place, and you know, I just like this series. It's fantastic. I don't like these ones as much as I love the first one, because the first one is a special kind of magic, but I really do like the series. I really do like the series. So after I read Library of Souls, I picked up and read Fangirl. And oh my goodness, if I had to pick another book that I identified with in this whole thing of books that I've read so far this year, this would be my second book. Like, if you could combine Eliza and Kath, I feel like you'd have 95% of my personality. Oh my goodness, no. Oh my goodness, I loved this book so much. It was just too cute. I gave it 4 out of 5. It was just so right. I don't really know how else to explain it. Like, this book is just great. I loved the little parts where she had all the fan fiction and parts of the other stories that were mentioned in this book. I loved the characters. They were so cute. I felt so many of the emotions while reading this book. It was great, and I would recommend it. And when I picked it up, this was one of the other books that I bought this year. When I picked it up, I showed it to my sister-in-law, who I was shopping with at the time, and she goes, "Wow, that's a very you book." And I was just like, I know, right? I'm really excited to read it. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I'm glad I finally read this book, guys. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good, and it's just too cute. So then the next book that I picked up and read after I read Fangirl was The Lightning Thief. This is a different version of the book than I read. Because you can tell that it's different because I read that one in a vlog on a very busy week, and it was really good, but I gave that copy away, so I went and got the first one that will match the other books and isn't a movie cover, so that's why it's different. But I loved this way more than I thought I would. Now, it took me a while to read this. It took me about a week because I was really busy. But I loved it so much that I literally gave my other copy away, pretty much forcing the other person to read it whenever she wants to. Not forcing her to read it right away, just forcing her to read it eventually. Because I had that copy of this book on my shelves for so long. I picked it up at a thrift store, and it was just sitting there because I knew I wanted to start reading it one day, because one time I was babysitting my nephew, and I picked it up off his shelf because he had it, and I just thumbed through the first few pages, and it was really interesting. So I went and I was like, oh, this is the book that's also that movie. That, like, the fans don't like the movie, but I've never seen the movie all the way through. I'm sorry, I've never seen it all the way through. But I've seen bits and pieces of it, and from what I remembered I liked, and I like Greek mythology. Persephone and Hades are my favorite, so this book about Hades was not my favorite thing about Hades, because I don't really feel like that's my Hades, but Hades is up to interpretation to whoever wants to really think about Hades and Persephone and their dynamic. It was really good. It was really cute. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5. I don't know if I said that already. I feel like it did, but just in case I didn't, there it is again. And it was a fun read, and I would recommend this. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. I'm just trying to get through the other books on my TBR first. So as you guys saw in my busy week reading vlog, immediately, I'm not even kidding, immediately after finishing Lightning Thief, I picked up A Very Large Expansive Sea, and I loved it so much. I loved it so much. I was a child when the plot of this book happens. Like, I was in elementary school, and they were like, the technology in this book is amazing. It just made me giggle. But the plot of this book is fantastic, and I would recommend reading it to literally everybody in this entire world. It's amazing. I love it. Give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's amazing. 4 out of 5 is fantastic for me, and I love this book, and I want the whole world to read it. And it was emotional, and I loved it, and it was cute, and I loved it, and it was good, and you should read it. You should read it. Again, in that same vlog, you will see that immediately after finishing that book, I picked up Grim Lovelies. I gave it 3 stars, which is I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. It's really good. It's interesting to me. See, I picked up this book because it had been connected to Shadowhunters, and y'all know I love Shadowhunters. But not like connected to it, but the world dynamic was kind of similar. And there are some reasons why I get why they said that, and some reasons I don't get why they said that. This book did a pretty good job of explaining it, but I'm still a little confused. I'm not 100% sure I know how this world works. So it wasn't my favorite, but I really did like it, and I can tell by the ending that there's probably going to be more books. I will read them. I'm not giving up on this. It's just, you know, it was okay. It was okay. But if you're interested in what happens when animals turn into humans, I would read this book. It's pretty good. I would read it. So after reading Grim Lovelies, I picked up An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. I gave it 3 stars. It's okay. It's not bad. I liked the characters, and I liked the story that was told. I didn't care. I'm sorry. That sounds really mean, because I usually care about everybody, and I do care about everybody in the world, and it kind of drives people around me nuts a little bit, especially when I worry about people I don't actually know in real life. Ask my husband about that. He can tell you some pretty hilarious stories about me worrying about people that I don't actually know. I didn't really vibe with Turtles All the Way Down either. I have just not issues, but it's just like I don't fully grasp it, and I feel bad because I know that that book means so much to so many other people, but I guess I can just say that it's just really not my cup of tea. I have one more John Green book, and I'm hoping I like it. Like I said in my last video, I really hope I like it, because I can't really fully 100% care or connect with any of John Green's books, and they're not bad. I want to connect to them. I want to like them. I want to so badly that I want to just like will into my heart and soul that I like these books, but I know for a fact I'm not alone in this. And that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with this book at all. The characters are great, the writing is great, the plot, while a little bit confusing compared to the synopsis only, is still pretty dang good. I liked it. It's just okay. So, this next book is an audiobook, so I can't hold it up in my hands because it's on my phone. But I read Sadie. It took me a while because I was getting used to this whole audiobook thing. But I liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The ending is like, what? What? Like, I get it. I understand 100%. I don't have issue with the ending. It's just, I wish I knew. That's it. I wish I knew. But it was a struggle, honestly, listening to parts of this book. But it was a really great book. I liked the characters. I liked the plot line. I listened to it because they told me to listen to it because it was in podcast form, and I'm glad I listened, because listening to it in podcast form was awesome. I loved the audiobook of it. I can definitely tell you it's not for everybody. So be cautious going into reading this book if you want to read it. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I do think it was a fantastic story. Last week I told you guys about these books that I was starting to read. And I read then and one more. So now we're going to talk about those ones. And Ember in the Ashes. Oh my gosh, I kind of wish I had waited until the end to read this book. Only because I now really want to go buy the other ones. Just so I can read, because I'm like, what is going on? Okay, this book was amazing. And also the worst. Oh my gosh, no, there's this one part. I'm gonna be very cryptic here. Number 3, where I was just like, what are you doing? What kind of a world is this? It sucks so bad. And I was reading this in front of my mom and my brother, like we were sitting there, and I was reading this book, and I had to put it down and just like vent to them so many times, because I was just like, this book is so good and I love it. 4 out of 5 stars. But this world kind of sucks. And I hate that they're living this way right now. And the end, I was just like, that's not how I expected it to go at all. But I felt like that was necessary. And I loved it. And I loved the characters in this book. They're really great characters. I know why people are freaking out about this whole series, because it's really good. I don't want to talk about this next book. I don't want to talk about it at all. Oh my gosh, it broke me. They both die at the end. I mean, who titles their book that? Why? And why did I think it was going to be a good idea to read a book that the title says they both die at the end? And they do. And oh my gosh. This book was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And there were parts where I just, like, especially towards the beginning, I wanted to put it down and walk away forever, just because I couldn't handle the fact that I knew how it was going to end because of the beginning, and they knew how it was going to end because of this stupid death cast thing or whatever. And I just, like, I have so many thoughts and feelings about the characters in these books, but right now I'm just going to say I love them so much. I'm kind of mad at Adam right now, kind of mad at him, because they're too cute and I don't want them to do what they do at the end. It's so sad. It's so sad. I legit cried. And I don't cry over fictional characters that often. I don't. But oh my goodness, this story was fantastic. It takes place in a day. The timestamps and the different point of views were amazing. The characters are so cute. The relationships between them and their friends and each other were awesome. It made me so happy, and then it made me so sad. It's really good. You should read it, because I just want you to feel the pain that I feel. This is an okay kind of a pain. But oh my gosh! So after I was traumatized by the ending of that book, I knew I really needed something super happy. So I read The Upside of Unrequited. This book cheered me up so well. I loved this book so much. I gave it 4 out of 5. It was so cute and I loved it so much. The characters, the writing, the plot. I told you I love every book that she has written that I have read, and that has stayed true. I felt, though, looking at that book, since this book was written by Adam Silvera and this book was written by Becky Albert. I always want to say Albertalli, but it's Albertalli, right? Albertalli. I don't know how you say it. I suck at saying names. Which is strange, because I have a name that's really hard to say sometimes, or spell sometimes, or just remember sometimes. But anyway, I read this book. I was looking at my whole shelf because I didn't have a book to read after that. And I was like, okay, I need something happy, something short, and something that will just make me feel better about life. And then I looked at the title, I looked at the author of this book, looked at the author of this book, and thought to myself, those two go well together. So I picked it up. I was not disappointed in the least. Like I said, 4 out of 5. Cute plot, cute characters, cute relationships, cute writing, cute area. I've only been to DC once, but it was great. The best thing about this book is not that it is connected to Simon, but the best thing is this book is that it's 100% relatable. Molly is just too cute. She's just too cute, and I love her, and I love Cassie. This book is really, really cute, and it lifted up my spirits immensely. I'm still very sad over they both died at the end, but this book helped numb the pain a little bit, and I would recommend reading it. It's really great. It's really great, guys. So that just leaves this, Children of Blood and Bone, which I literally just started, and I don't really have any thoughts about right now, but this book is going to be my halfway goal mark. So if you want to know when I finish this, what my thoughts are, what books I read next, then definitely go check out my other socials. I have a Goodreads, I have a Twitter connected to my Goodreads, and I have Instagram that has stories. So go check out my other socials if you want to stay tuned with my book obsession this year, because I'm doing really good at reading. And also, comment down below if you've read any of these books, if you want to read any of these books, if you guys want me to do a review about any of these books or any books in the future, let me know. I want you guys to comment these things. I want to know what you guys want to see from me, because I will do book reviews. I mean, I'm not the greatest at them, but the only way to get better is to practice, and I can't practice if I don't do a book review. So if you want a book review, let me know. I will do one. I'm probably going to do one soon anyway, but if you have a certain book in mind that you would like me to review, then let me know. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do that and click the notification bell, because I talk about a ton of different things that are all book, fandom, weird, crazy, geeky, normal life related. And I am doing a fandom food next week that you guys should totally stick around for, because it's gonna be interesting. So stick around for that, and I hope you guys are having an amazing week and an amazing life, and I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye. No idea. Wow, Percy? Really? Really, Percy? And yeah.